Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, November 14th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts as a trader, or maybe just interested in learning more on how to use charts to help make good decisions as a trader, then this would be a video for you. First off, a couple quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol TENX. And what a monster move for this one on today. And now a good little pattern here has formed. And you got to think a lot of people have watched this, are watching this pattern. And I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can definitely produce some very dynamic movements. And the level that you got to think a lot of people have noticed is right up here at 71 cents. You can see this has been a problem point. 3 separate occasions, the price has gone up there, and every time the price has been rejected. Now, that does not mean that the price can never get back above that area. I'm just saying it's become quite apparent that you got to think a lot of people are watching it. So while there are no guarantees, my point here is that is it plausible? Is it reasonable to think that if the price comes up here to 71 and then breaks up through it, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a more than reasonable scenario to throw out there. And then on the flip side of things, as far as the pattern is concerned, we have this area right here. And then let me change that to green to represent more so the support, and then keep it all one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support. We have the big move right here. We have the golf hole down here. If you golfers make it a little bit more visual, this would be a bull pennant pattern. Next one here, ticker symbol EVA, and this was a very nice bounce on the day. To think that this thing started off, well, actually, it was last week, got down that low, and then made a nice bounce into today, and then today the bounce just continued. So it really just boils down to a question of, is this the start of something even bigger? And that's always an exciting question to be asking, because think about it, some situations you never even get to ask that question because, well, nothing worthwhile is even happening. But in this situation, you do have a big bounce, which is worthwhile, and you have another one of those areas that I think you gotta call one of those self-fulfilling prophecy type areas right here at $1.65. Again, not a special revelation on my part, not a secret discovery. You got to think that a lot of people have noticed that, oh, look, the price got rejected there. Oh, look, the price once again got rejected there today. Therefore, you're going to have those breakout players saying, okay, that's an area of resistance. And if this price comes up here and breaks through it, guarantee, no. Plausible, though, to think that break in and of itself could create additional momentum. Absolutely. So definitely keep an eye on $1.65 moving forward. If the price does pull back at all, area of support that I think is pretty important right down there at the dollar mark. And reason for that is, and I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here to $1 and then break down through there, now all of a sudden, what do you have? Well, you'd quite literally have the price having gone right back to where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements with genuine power don't make a nice move and then go back to where they started. They're going to at least show some signs of progress. And in this situation, the quote-unquote sign of progress would be staying up above that dollar mark. But all in all, very interesting. So we'll see if this is indeed the start of something even bigger. Next one here, TIVC. And along with the same lines that I've been talking about, once again, you got to think that a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there. So, like I said, not a great discovery, not a secret discovery or anything like that. Got to think a lot of people are watching it. Therefore, it's one of those what I would consider a potential self-fulfilling prophecy point. And the good news here is that the price is actually very close to that red line right there. So, again, if the price comes up there and breaks through it, guarantees nothing but makes it plausible to think that if the price does break through that level, will that, just cause more people to buy? Because people are saying, I'm a breakout player. Oh, look, that's breaking out. Oh, I'm supposed to buy. That seems like a reasonable scenario to throw out there. In terms of areas of support, key level to watch from that angle of things down here at basically the bottom part of this consolidation, which was at $1.75. And then once again, from the pattern standpoint, let me quickly draw it in. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the nice upwards move here, we have the golf hole down here, so we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. Next one here, PLUG, very popular stock, and talked about this on Friday. And let's just get this first level mapped out, which now has essentially become a double top here today, right at that $3.70 mark. Going back to the history of things, you can see 370 rejected it there and then rejected it right there. So same general talking point that I've been saying, if the price comes up there and breaks through there, it is plausible to think that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. And then the other level that I'm maybe even more so curious about is I want to get this lower trend line in place, because this is a level that I think is going to be very, very important moving forward. And once those, I'm not going to say it's as much of a self-fulfilling prophecy, but that's a pretty straightforward trend line to draw. And my wonder is, if the price comes down here, do you get another bounce, or is this just going to be a breakdown through there? And if it does, then I don't think anybody would be shocked at all to see this thing break through those lows and probably go down below the $3 mark, especially if it's a high volume break to the downside there. But you also don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, because as of right now, that level hasn't been tested, let alone broken. But nonetheless, like I said, I think that's an interesting level there that I'm very curious about. But if this thing does curl around, then yeah, keep a very close eye on $3.70. Next one here, AMC. And although it started off very, very rough on the day, you can see that red candle there representing the opening 30 minutes actually broke down through both these areas of support, which was the support zone that I talked about previously. But to give credit where credit's due, not only did the price stabilize, but the price actually recovered now to get back up above both of these areas of support. So yeah, nice recovery from, like I said, a very, very rough opening 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and clean up this a little bit and just adjust this, or I'm going to leave that level down there. Let's call it 770 now, just make it a little bit more of a round number. But 770 remains that key area of support if there is any sort of rollback over. If the price does continue to bounce, and I don't even know if bouncing is the right word, kind of more so just a slow little grind upwards. But if the slow grind continues, then the main areas of resistance, nothing really has changed. You still have that key level up there at 835, although you are going to want to keep a very close eye on the 50-period moving average right there. Keyword there being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to continue to move itself down and down. And, when that line does cross below the red line there, at that point, that line is going to take higher priority. But as of right now, 835 remains the higher priority. But if that purple line does cross down through it, then that'll be the main area of resistance at that point in time. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for this free class. Next one here, RIVN, and credit where credit's due. Very, very impressive bounce, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video last week. But if you did, hope you remember me talking about that green line of support right there. And check it out. Opening 30 minutes, bounce beautifully off that area. So if you did watch that video and got some right there, I mean, you definitely are having a good start to your week. But let's map out some new levels. So yes, there's no doubt about it. This was a very nice bounce. Is this the start of something bigger? Is there any sort of genuine power behind this move? Well, if this is genuine power, then we're going to need to see signs of progress. Nothing goes straight up, but you at least want to see those signs of progress, which is where this 1575 mark comes into play. And while I'm not saying this will happen, if the price comes down there, behaves like that, and the curls back upwards, what do you have at that point in time? Well, you'd have a set of lows right there. You'd have lows down here, and if you envision each one of those as stair-steps, you now have stair-steps making progress in the upwards direction. We're on the flip side of things, that I've already talked about this, but if the price comes down here and breaks down below it, what do you have? Well, now all of a sudden you have the price having gone right back to where it was. And like I said on a previous chart, that's not exactly a sign of genuine power, where you get a great move and then the price goes right back to where it started. But if the price can show signs of progress, then that's what it's all about. And again, the quote-unquote sign of progress over there at, let's just call it 1575. As far as the next main level of resistance, keep a close eye on that pink line up there, the 200-period moving average. Next one here, ticker symbol PLTR, and overall, price held up just fine today, and I'm going to make an adjustment, but the key question here is, all right, well, what direction is this adjustment being made? And I'm going to go ahead and, now that we have more data, adjust this area of resistance up to that area right there at 1985, and not to insult your intelligence, but you saw I adjusted that level higher. And assuming you're bullish, whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted in the upwards direction, that's always a good sign of strength. So 1985, newest level of resistance, keep an eye on moving forward. As far as levels of support, no adjustments there need to be made. Still got $19.20, and then you have that 50-period moving average, which, like I talked about previously, I think it was on an AMC, that is a moving average. So at some point in time, when that purple line does move up above that area, at that point is where that level takes the higher priority. But because the purple line is still down below 1980, this level right there has the higher priority. So keep that in mind. But all in all, 1985, that new key breakout point, which was actually very stubborn today. But the good news is, with stubborn points, those sometimes create the best breakouts. So we'll see if that can happen or not over the next couple of days. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. Very, very big move today. Good, solid volume. And now from a technical point of view, at a very interesting area. So let me get this trend line in place. Just a little bit there. There we go. So you can see this point and this point, and now you have basically after today a good, solid, almost perfect prediction of where that resistance level is. Now that doesn't mean that level can't be broken. My point here is that nice little consolidation right behind this breakup point. In fact, I'll just draw this very crudely. In fact, what we have here is a nice bull pennant pattern right beneath this area. So one warning on that is if the price does break to the upside of the pattern, don't get overly excited because not that far away, you do have that area of resistance. But if the price can break above that pattern and then break out of that level, that in and of itself could generate just that much more momentum. So you have a nice little bull pennant, but don't get too excited about that. Get more so excited if the price can break up through that overarching trend line right there. But all in all, very, very impressive day today. Next one here, AMD, and this one has just been very, very impressive. Yes, today it pulled back, which is, a little bit of perspective. I mean, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought, right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within, 5 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks rough because it did pull back. But assuming you care about things from the bigger picture point of view, even with the pullback here, you have that set of lows there, which compare to that set, and you get the idea of that set down there. If you envision these as all stair-steps, well, then you still do very clearly have stair-steps making progress in the upwards direction, which, as I've said on past charts, that's what it's all about. Nothing can go straight up. You just want to see those signs of progress. So even with a pullback today, it's still building higher bases, still showing those signs of progress. So as far as just a more simplistic way to watch the supports, as I've talked about with the past charts, keep an eye on that purple line there. Right there, we have a classic example of that acting as a support. And as long as the price stays above there, then as far as I'm concerned, the bulls remain in full control. In terms of areas of resistance, let me get that trend line in play right there. I'd keep a close eye on that. And if the price can, and really in all actuality, you have just a big old pennant formation. So you have that, and I'm doing this very crudely. So wedge, symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. But the point here being is that you have a nice overall uptrend. You get a bit of a pullback, but the pullback's put in a higher base. And now it's just a question of, is this trend going to continue and break up through that level? And if it does, that could be a good leading indicator of new highs to come. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up as a whole, this one will also go up. It just allows you access at a much lower price point, makes it a very popular ETF. And yeah, this one started off, so in other words, the NASDAQ started off rough today with a gap down, opening 30 minutes, and then like that, very nice bounce, a little bit of a pullback, and it's now kind of been chopping around here a little bit. So it did not put in any new highs today or anything like that, but certainly maintained the areas of support. And the first level that I talked about previously was right there at right around the $40.10 mark. Now, again, that opening 30 minutes, that level was broken. But after that, the price quickly recovered and then never really looked back. Last 30 minutes there, you can see not the greatest of 30 minutes, relatively bigger red candle there. But one 30-minute session is not going to make or break a chart. So I don't know, is this some sort of indicator that's going to come back down there and retest that area of support? Only time will tell. But like these other ones, from more of the bigger picture point of view, the level to continue to just watch is that purple line right there. As long as your price remains above there, then as far as I'm concerned, the bulls are in full control of the chart. In terms of levels of resistance, I would certainly consider this one of those self-fulfilling prophecy type areas, because you got to think a lot of people have recognized that trend line right there. I mean, that's a very basic trend line, but those are the best ones because those are the ones that most people see, and then you have that much better chance of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you like to play more so breakouts, definitely keep an eye on that trend line right there. But overall, rough way to start the week, but as it recovered back upwards, a good strong Monday. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then go get signed up for that free live class. It'll be Thursday, November 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Those two things communicate to me that you enjoy these top 10 watch lists. And as long as I know that you as a viewer are enjoying, I will continue to put in the required time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, hit the like button, leave a comment below, say hi, tell me your watch list, tell me what you traded today, and go get signed up for that free class. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.